Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get together here on Facebook Live every single day of the week for the last 6 months. Only one day we miss, but it's been a great 6 months since we started Coffee and Headlines. What do we do here? We get together, we exchange headlines, stories, tips, comments, and suggestions that make our lives in Puerto Vallarta better, more joyful, more fun, more inspiring as an English speaking community living here full time. Always a pleasure to bump into you every morning because I see friends that I've had for some time. I meet new friends, and it's always inspiring to see what's on your minds and what you are curious about as far as Puerto Vallarta is concerned. If you're new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco. Please let us know that you're new, and you can do that by writing the word new in your comments, and we'll give you a proper welcome. As always, I see many, many, many friends from all over the place. It's great seeing you here. Today, we have all kinds of fun and interesting news to share, new openings here in Puerto Vallarta, and interesting news about, oh my goodness, should we? Yeah, we have to talk about Lord Pizza or whatever Lord name they gave him. He came back in the surface. And our very dear Helen Reddy passed away. I am woman, hear me roar. We're going to talk about Helen Reddy at some point today. Helen Reddy, do you remember Helen Reddy? How many Helen Reddy songs can you sing just like at the top of your list? I tried to remember a few this morning. I was showering and I was singing, Angie, baby, you're a special lady. But that was me. Now let me not overwhelm you with my shitty singing. Any more crocodiles? Asked Michael. Not in my living room, that's for sure. Although I could hear Luna purring all night long. It's great to see you all. Thank you very much for your congratulations. We love that you love this show. Trucha wants to be adopted, so Trucha can become a Mexican citizen. If it was in my power to adopt you, I would adopt you. But I think I would be an irresponsible adopter. Logan says, happy 6-month anniversary. Thank you very much. It's been such a wonderful ride to do this and such a learning experience to get up every morning and figure out, how can I make this better? How can Luna help me? How can we make this a more entertaining broadcast every single day? And I think we're doing okay. There's good plans coming up, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let us dive into the news just to see what is going on this morning, and we'll get to your comments and questions in a little while. Well, we started talking about this yesterday. We kept wondering if the city had actually opened the Malecón again, and it seems as though they have. All the obstacles that kept preventing us from enjoying our walks along the Malecón have been removed. No yellow tape anymore. And it is hoped that this opening will encourage more people to go out and about carefully, of course, and enjoy this very, very scenic walk. I will be walking it maybe later on today or tomorrow just to see if it's very busy or not, and to show you what has changed, if anything, along the Malecón here in Puerto Vallarta. This caught my attention. There is an airline in Canada, Air Canada, that is going to be offering a health insurance policy against COVID for travelers coming to Mexico. Every time you buy a ticket through Air Canada, you will receive an insurance policy through the firm Air Canada Vacation, and this covers you in case you get COVID while you're here, and if you need medication, hospital, and isolation for 14 days. The policy will have a coverage of up to 200,000 Canadian dollars for medical bills, plus 150 for, I suppose that's Canadian dollars, 150 Canadian dollars for daily expenses of quarantine per person, or 300 per family for a period of 14 nights. I suppose this is a good news. This is a good bit of information for people traveling through Air Canada. Michal writes that WestJet is offering free health insurance as well. I am so happy to hear this because this will hopefully inspire some of you to trust coming to visit Puerto Vallarta during this season. This is something that I'm still trying to get my hands around. The government of Jalisco, our state, has announced a new help button or auxilio button. I don't get as to whether this is going to be an actual hardware device or if this is something that you can have access through your cell phone, but this is something that is going to be available at your business, or if you're a delivery truck, you can push this button, and that way the authorities can be alerted immediately as to whether there is a crime being committed. According to this particular article, it'll be a very useful device to be able to prevent crime to businesses and to people. And it also says that if individuals like you and me will be able to access this system by dialing 911 and being directed to a crisis center. Now, we don't know exactly when this is going to happen or how it's going to be implemented, but the notion that there's a simple button or a simple something you can press in your business in case there's trouble should be comforting to businesses and to people that are out and about working. In another news, Mexico's Senate has finally approved legislation to guarantee free access to all beaches in Mexico. As you know, access to the beach is public in our country. And it's been a year and a half since the Cámara de Diputados submitted this law in which people, individuals, or companies that attempt to block you or me or anyone from accessing the beach in Mexico can be sanctioned with more than 1 million pesos. So if you decide to go to Los Muertos Beach and you sit dangerously close to whatever barriers have been set forth by hotels or restaurants and whatnot, and they give you a hard time, then you can say this is the beach and you can enjoy it if you want. There you go. Now, we also find out more news about this controversial new club located on top of a roof of a new building in Marina Vallarta. This is a new bar called Rooftop 360 that is open at night and apparently is making a lot of noise. And the problem continues to be the same, the fact that residents in Marina Vallarta are complaining, number one, over the fact that the place does not have a license to operate, and number two, that they're making a lot of noise in a residential neighborhood. We need to continue to follow this to find out whether the government will actually take some action against this particular venue. In other news, we learned of the sad and strange disappearance of the director of the IMSS hospital here in Puerto Vallarta. The director of the hospital's name, Cirilo Uribe Curiel, 46 years old, left his home to go to work, but he never made it to the hospital. And this was reported, well, it doesn't say the date in which this was reported, but apparently authorities have started an investigation over the fact that the director of the local Social Security hospital has disappeared. Let us hope that this is not a catastrophic disappearance, and let us hope that they can find some resolution to this. In other news, Mexican airlines continue to show an increase in traffic, according to a report that shows that there was a 21% increment in air travel between July and August. And I'm talking about domestic flights. This is good news because as travel continues to increase, this shows that there is an increase also in our confidence to, hop on a plane and go places. Good news all around. And that is the end of my formal news. Let me take a quick look at what your comments are about today, and then we will continue with a bunch of other news that I have for you. Boom, ba bum, 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 bum. Oh, Michael, if you sing to me constantly, I may adopt you as well. Too fun. Helen Reddy, I love it. Can't wait to walk the Malecón. That makes two of us, Harv. And of course, now that the weather's getting better, it really is something that we want to do. Let's see, the insurance, a couple of comments about insurance. Meanwhile, Americans get butt kissed from our airlines. Well, I'm not so sure about that. But then again, I haven't been on an American airline forever, so I don't know about that. Um, I am not going to acknowledge the political comments just because this is not a political forum. Um, and that is a friendly reminder of that. Let us jump into the weather to see what the weather shows. See, even the weather has a snarky political comment, um, which I will ignore because you can read it on your own. So there. It is 26 degrees in Puerto Vallarta. Feels like 29. It is 78 degrees Fahrenheit, and humidity is low. Thank God, it's only 87%, which is a good thing by standards. We have a 2% chance of rain right now. And it shows us that we can expect the day to be humid and mostly cloudy. The same thing for tomorrow, Thursday. And I see that it'll also be humid through the day on Friday. So hot and humidity. But, October is around the corner. And that means that we are maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks away from the weather getting its act together. Yes, if you have never been in Mexico, I mean in Puerto Vallarta when this happens, it's the eeriest thing because it is hot and humid. It is hot and humid. And then one day you wake up and you'll start your chores through the day, and then you're out and about, and suddenly by 10 or 12 in the day, by noon, you realize, oh, well, wait a second. It's not hot and humid. What happened? And just like that, the weather changes. It's magical. It's weird. It's overnight. No notice. It just happens towards the end of the month. It's wonderful. It's wonderful because it's very, very noticeable. Anyhow, more headlines for you. You've noticed if you've been here long enough that we have a thing for language and words and translation and equivalence and so forth and so on. And I found this fascinating article about how COVID is changing the English language, which is really an insightful article about the editors of the Oxford English Dictionary. So, if you are intrigued about numbers and new words and things like that in language, I'm going to leave this bookmark for you to explore on your own time. Speaking of weather, there is a new tropical storm formation in the Pacific that is going to bring us some rain during the next few days. It hasn't become a major hurricane or anything, but this is something that caught my attention. It's not as close to our coast as they usually are, so it may bring a little bit of rain in the next few days. We'll keep our eyes on it. A number of important anniversaries are going to be celebrated in Mexico in this coming year, as announced by Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. These include 700 years since the foundation of Tenochtitlan. We've been talking about the Aztecs crashing Tenochtitlan and claiming it as their own. It is also the 500th anniversary of the Spanish invasion and the 200th anniversary of the Mexican independence. This is going to be a major celebration that will take place during the following year. Um, and it will be an important commemoration, apparently. And the federal government is calling 2021 as the year known as the year of independence and Mexico's gloriousness or grandness. Critics of the president are, of course, saying, well, how convenient that this is happening in an election year, but it is still too early to see what is going to happen or whether there is a direct correlation between these celebrations and the Mexican presidential elections. Please excuse me for a second. Oh, that felt good. Anyhow, moving on, I want to tell you that yesterday, oh, sorry about that. All this microphone talking makes my cough go places. Yesterday was the 86th anniversary of the Mexico City's beautiful fine arts palace, which is Mexico's most important artistic and cultural building. If you've ever been to Mexico City and you haven't stopped to visit this spectacular theater, you've really missed out. It's a gorgeous building outside, it's a gorgeous building inside, full of history. And one of the most amazing, extraordinary things that you will find inside of the Fine Arts Palace is this curtain, which is actually, if you look at it closely, it's a landscape of the two volcanoes that can be seen from Mexico City. On the left is the Iztaccíhuatl, and on the right is the Popocatépetl. This is the volcano that is constantly in the news because it's always smoking. and and not only is this curtain a sight to really be amazed about when you walk into the theater, and you're lucky enough that the curtain is down, but a lot of people don't know that this curtain is a one-piece structure. And all those colors that you see is Tiffany glass. This is a one-of-a-kind curtain that was commissioned by Mexico for Tiffany in New York to design and to build. It weighs approximately 22 tons, and there is nothing like it anywhere else in the world. It was President Porfirio Diaz who came up with the idea, and it was between 1909 and 1910 that Tiffany from New York came to Mexico City to take a look at the specs, the design. The curtain was finished by 1911, and it was exhibited very successfully in New York. In that same year, it was shipped to Mexico by boat, and it was assembled in 1912. And since then, it has been, again, this beautiful background at the Fine Arts Palace. So if you ever have an opportunity to go to Mexico City and visit the Fine Arts Palace, it is not always that they have the curtain down. I can tell you that I've had the honor and the pleasure of seeing it in display at least twice in my life. And it's really something that you will not see anywhere else. I see a question here, Gayoff asking, how did they raise it? Well, they must have a counterweight system, but the thing literally just goes up completely from bottom to top. So that gives you a sense as to how tall the building is in the back to allow for the comfort, for the curtain to be able to be raised all the way up. It is really, really a beautiful sight. And I showed you some of the specs. And then moving on a completely different subject, this is now about local marmalades or jams or jelly that you can buy at the supermarket. Mexico's consumer magazine published that the worst brand of jam that you can buy in Mexico is La Costeña, in case you're out and about at La Comer thinking, well, what kind of jam should I get today? Don't get La Costeña, because apparently La Costeña is the brand that has the smallest amount of actual fruit when compared with other brands. The article goes on to speak more specifically about the brand and whether it has excess sugars and so forth and so on. So I just thought I'd share this with you in case you are in a peanut butter and jelly kind of frame of mind. Lord Pizza, as I mentioned earlier, published his own video with his own version of the facts. And as is the case with many lords and ladies, he ended up losing even more points in his explanation, saying, well, they attacked me as well, and I didn't let them beat me, and so forth and so on. Useless information, but you like our lords and ladies. You have said so in the past. So as long as you enjoy hearing about Mexican lords and ladies, we're going to continue talking about them. Before we move on, let me take a quick look at your comments and suggestions and questions. Bum, ba-dim, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum. Ah, okay. No, we decided we were not going to talk about politics. No. Some airlines even charge you for a blanket or a pillow. Do you guys remember People Express? I mean, I remember when I was in college and we wanted to go to spring break to Florida, we would ride this airline called People Express, and I think they charged even for an extra shoelace or something. I remember that. I don't know if you remember that. Regarding beach access, you might explain the relationship between high tide limit and the. Okay, I don't know that I can explain something that I don't understand. Tony, please try again. Your message was cut out. Let's see, Paco Daddy, please. Gail faces the rooftop bar, and it has not been successful so far due to the rain every evening. I can imagine that, Gail, but I'm sure that it's going to stop raining. And bottom line is, hopefully, whatever is going on between that bar and the neighborhood, will be resolved. It's not like we don't want bars to have a good time and people to have a good time at bars, but when some people play by the rules and other people don't play by the rules, that's when it becomes a little bit complicated. Let's see. Terry chimes in on the weather change day. Yes, it is magical and weird. Absolutely. Absolutely. Doreen has just landed on the new Facebook. Welcome to the club. It takes some getting used to. Yes, it is a different version of Facebook. Which reminds me, I'm getting increasing comments from people that watch the broadcast on YouTube, and presently we only broadcast live here on Facebook. Then I upload the episodes to YouTube. There is a way for me to be able to broadcast live to both platforms, but it adds another expense that I have not considered yet, because I don't get a sense that being on YouTube is as important as being on Facebook to you, to this particular audience, to you. But if you would rather watch the show on YouTube and you would want to be able to watch it live on YouTube, please leave a comment on the YouTube broadcast so that I can read it there, and we can definitely take that into account. Moving right along, I see a lot of comments about the curtain. Yes, the curtain is absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous. Love the way Aztec words roll off your tongue. Well, we are expected to say all those words since we go to elementary school, so it's kind of like, it becomes second nature. Terry, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. What are the Spanish words for lords and ladies? Well, what a good question. Lords and ladies. Well, they are translated as, okay, if we're talking about British royalty, for example, we talk about lords and ladies, and that's what we call them. There is an expression for Your Highness, Su Señoría, but we don't we don't have specific words for lords or ladies as such. If anything, it's a good thing that we don't meddle with any specific first names like Karen, for example. Raymond says, keep the lords and ladies coming. Bill remembers People Express. I love it. Um, love it, love it, love it. Does that gorgeous Fine Arts Center stage opera, not only do they do that, Michael, but the Fine Arts Palace, the Palacio de Bellas Artes, has its own opera company, and they perform fully staged operas on a on regular basis. Of course, not during the pandemic, but yes, there's a Fine Arts Palace Symphony Orchestra. There's a Fine Arts Palace um, opera company, and there's all kinds of concerts that take place there. Mostly classical concerts. I remember the very first time, I believe it was the first time, I could be wrong on this, but when Juan Gabriel, the famous Mexican popular singer, had an anniversary concert at Bellas Artes, a lot of the uppity fine arts community went, well, how are we possibly going to allow Juan Gabriel, who is loved by the popular Mexico, to have his own concert here at the Fine Arts Palace? And it was a very successful performance. So now there are all kinds of performances going on there, and it's a beautiful thing. Did I hear that Uncork Mexico reopens today? Actually, I didn't, because I didn't get a memo, I didn't get a press release, I didn't see it on the headlines. But thank you for sharing that, Linda. It is always good to hear about businesses coming back to to provide for us. Yay! Um, let's see what else. Have I watched The Social Dilemma? No, it is on my list. I know what it is about, and I know that it's going to scare the living pants out of me. But I am going to watch it sometime at sometime in the near future. Um, Paul asks, can't have interactive comments on YouTube, correct? And the answer is correct. Right now, because we don't broadcast live to YouTube, we are not able to watch the interactive comments. If I chose to broadcast both Facebook and YouTube live, I would be able to take a look at interactive comments on both platforms. But again, I would have to incur an additional fee, and I don't know that it's the right time to go there yet. But again, I'm going to wait to hear your feedback. A lot of you like Facebook, and we know that. Um, Sean comments that we should call them Karenita and Chadito. I don't know about that. Buddy asks, what microphone do I use? Oh my God, this is an old MLX microphone. It's an old studio microphone that has been with me for years, and it's covered with cat lint, I am noticing. It's a microphone that I purchased about 18 years ago and have been using it for podcasting and for occasional studio gigs. And this is a primary microphone. When I'm out and about, I use something else. Let's see. Question from Sherry: is the Ballet Folklórico in Mexico City performed at the Palacio de Bellas Artes? Yes, absolutely yes. And again, that's one of the big touristy things to do in Mexico City, to go to an Amalia Hernandez ballet performance. Amalia Hernandez being this very well-known choreographer that is the director of the folkloric ballet in Mexico City. They produce this gorgeous, enormous mariachi and live dancers fiesta at the Fine Arts Palace, and it is the epitome of Mexico. Like, I get goosebumpy thinking about it, and it's really a wonderful show to enjoy. This brings me to the end of the comments. I don't want to leave you without again acknowledging the fact that singer Helen Reddy died at 78. She may or may not have been big in your history. I remember her. I remember her songs. Why is that window showing up there? Go away, promotional window. I can't make you go away. Of course, I can
Black.
make you go away. Bye bye. So Helen Reddy died. Here's this beautiful photograph of her with Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda at the Women's March in Los Angeles in 2017. And I will leave you with I will include in the show notes a bookmark to a trailer. There's now a biopic on Helen Reddy, and it's based on um, the song "I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar," or "I Am Woman" rather is the name of the song. And I watched the trailer, and there's a beautiful scene in the movie apparently where Helen Reddy and her team play the song for record executives, and of course the record executives in a male dominated record industry react against the song at the time. And but we know that the song went on to become extremely successful for her and became an anthem for the women's liberation movement. And all these movies that show anything that has to do with the record with the history of the record industry, I always find very fascinating. So hopefully, when the movie is released, we'll all have a chance to enjoy it. Last question. Susan says, can we encourage people to buy gift certificates for restaurants and other businesses in PVE? It's a good way for them to get a cash injection. I think that is a great idea. Christmas presents, buy restaurant certificates, buy hotel rooms, buy things, buy things like that help us reactivate the local economy. Julie asks, who sang "You're So Vain"? Of course, that was none other than ay 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 ay, and it was not Carole King. It was um, mm, 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 oh my God, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Thank you, Carly Simon. Yes, thank you, Jill. Carly Simon is who sang "You're So Vain," and apparently the song was supposed to be about Mick Jagger. Um, and I forget if it was or if it wasn't. And I think she acknowledged it, or maybe I dreamed it. Don't remember, but maybe I will add that to my list of things that I researched today. And I hope you will end up with interesting things to research today if that is your thing. This brings us to the end of Coffee and Headlines for today. I can't believe it's been 6 months. It seems like it was just yesterday that we started doing this, and I am still getting my thoughts around the fact that we've been doing this for 6 months. You've responded, you've grown, I've learned, you've become supporters, and it worked, which was my idea, my theory all along, to keep this advertiser free and to hope on the fact that you would find enough value on this experience, this project, to actually support it. And you have, and it is something that I am very, very grateful for. So we will continue moving on and coming up with new content every day and more things to do. And as the weather gets better and as we relax more about COVID and all those things, we will be able to continue going out there and doing walking tours and taking photos and showing you what's going on in town. But between then and now, we have an entire day to enjoy, an entire hump day. So please stay happy, stay kind, stay calm, buy restaurant gift certificates, and stay in touch. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.